Hello and welcome. My name is Sissy and I'm Timothy's widow. I'm on a mission to provide a supportive and uplifting community for you. By sharing my personal story, grief experience, and tips and advice, I'd like to help you overcome grief and find meaning and purpose in your life. Before we start, I wanted to let you know that I created a separate video that covers the channel guidelines. If you're new here, I suggest you go check it out today as well, because my mission is very important to me. Before we get into today's video, I just need to address a few items quickly. Lately, several fellow YouTubers found themselves and their viewers victims of scammers. Just so you know, I do not have any additional social media for the channel. No Facebook, no Twitter, or anything else. Just here, YouTube. I am not now, nor do I intend to offer any giveaways, and I will never be asking you to provide any of your personal information, such as address or phone numbers. My mission is to walk with you in this grief journey. It is not to inflict any more pain for you. So please, always use caution online. Now, let's get into today's topic. Today we're going to be addressing the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is an idiomatic expression used to refer to an obvious or significant issue or problem that is being ignored or not addressed in a given situation. It represents a topic or subject that is present, yet impossible to overlook. People avoid acknowledging or discussing it, often due to discomfort, fear, or the sensitive nature of the topic. When it comes to being a grieving spouse, I've learned more than I ever wanted to about those darn elephants. And I think it is time that we get them out in the open and address them. It's bad enough we lost our spouses. We shouldn't have to deal with those pesky elephants too. So let's take a closer look at the topic. Grieving spouses can become the elephant in the room in a variety of ways. Number 1, it's an uncomfortable topic. The loss of a spouse can be a sensitive and emotionally charged topic for others, especially if they are unsure how to offer support or express condolences. Many people feel uncertain about how to approach grieving spouses. Therefore, they avoid the topic as much as possible. And many times, they go out of their way to avoid the grieving spouse as well. The result is that the grieving spouse becomes the elephant in the room, and their grief and their needs go unaddressed. I'm not going to lie. Yes, grief is a damn uncomfortable topic. Just ask the spouses who lost their loved ones and who now live each day without them. Every day, especially in the first months, is filled with heavy emotions and uncertainty. One way that people can help grieving spouses during this time and overcome their own discomfort discussing grief is to simply offer sincere condolences for the loss. Believe me, I appreciated those who simply offered their condolences and were willing to listen, even when I didn't want to or couldn't talk about my husband. The gestures were simple, but always came with an open door for further conversations when I was up to it. Another way that grieving spouses may feel like the elephant in the room is through awkward social interactions. When it comes to social occasions, people may feel unsure about how to interact with someone who is grieving, especially if they have not experienced a similar loss themselves. They might fear saying the wrong thing or inadvertently causing more pain. This discomfort or awkwardness during social events can lead to others treating the grieving spouse as if nothing has happened at all, or, worse yet, totally avoiding the grieving spouse completely. In the end, the people gathered at an event are left feeling uncomfortable, embarrassed, and perhaps rightly so, a little ashamed of themselves. Meanwhile, the grieving spouse is once again reminded of their loss, as well as experiencing increased social anxiety and further feelings of isolation and abandonment. Lastly, stigma and societal norms and expectations can also contribute to grieving spouses becoming the elephant in the room. Sadly, some cultures or communities may have beliefs or attitudes that discourage open discussions about death, grief, or the emotional well-being of individuals who have suffered the loss of a spouse. This can create an unhealthy environment where grieving spouses are not encouraged to express their emotions or to seek support, leading to their grief becoming a taboo subject. Despite everyone feeling uncomfortable and awkward, there are ways to ensure that a grieving spouse doesn't feel too awkward or unwanted in social interactions. The first thing to remember is that when a spouse is grieving, the primary focal point of their thoughts and energy is directly related to that loss. That doesn't mean that they don't care what is happening in the lives of their friends and family. It just means that they simply may not have the cognitive reserves to totally process what is happening in the outside world. Many widows and widowers will, initially, shy away from much activity that isn't directly related to their own home. That doesn't mean that they don't care about their nephew's upcoming wedding or their sister's huge anniversary party. It's hard to explain to someone who hasn't gone through a loss, but trust me, deep down, grieving spouses really do care about what is happening with family and friends. It's just our physical and mental reserves have been completely drained. We lose track of the day of the week, and for many of us, those first few weeks and months may be filled with very little sleep. Because grief is complex and challenging, both physically and mentally, many grieving spouses may seem slow at getting back in touch with life around them. At first, they may refuse invitations to get out with other people or attend important gatherings. This is completely normal and never should be met with judgment or comparison. Each grieving person moves along the grief journey at their own timeline. They need to, and they will be, mindful of social invitations. Many will debate for many agonizing hours or days as to whether they should go to something, often making themselves physically sick in the process. Believe me, as a grieving widow, I'm fully aware of the impact that my presence may have. I question my own ability to stay composed, even now at a little more than a year in. I don't want people to focus on me and my loss. I want them to enjoy the reason of the get-together. But most importantly, I want people to not exclude me. I want to be invited, and I want my presence to be wanted. Many grieving spouses deal with exclusion in a very large, often hurtful fashion, and that is a completely different video topic, to be sure. Grieving spouses want to be remembered, and that is something that many grieving spouses feel the effect of with every gathering or get-together that they aren't invited to. And yet they know all too well that there was a time when they would have been invited. To help ensure that grieving spouses don't feel like the elephant in the room and to lessen the awkwardness in social interactions, it is important to create an inclusive and supportive environment. These interactions can provide wonderful opportunities for connection, which is something that many grieving spouses will be in need of, especially during the first 6 months or so of their grief journey. By acknowledging their loss, it shows that you are aware of their situation and are willing to support them. By practicing active listening, grieving spouses can become engaged in conversations. Showing genuine interest in what they may say and encouraging open dialogue can help many grieving spouses to come out of their grief momentarily and to participate more fully in the moment. Being mindful of social invitations isn't just limited to the grieving spouse's thinking. While their decision to attend or not attend is one that they will deliberate on for quite some time, it is important to consider their emotional state when extending social invitations. Remember that no grieving spouse wants to be made to feel excluded or isolated, so extending those invitations is a welcome thing, even if they choose not to attend. Be understanding if they decline or need to adjust their plans at the last moment due to grief. Remember, a grieving spouse may get up and start their day with the intention of attending an event, only to back out at the last moment. Waves of grief come uninvited and unplanned. Reassure them that their presence is valued, regardless of their ability to attend social engagements. Have there been times when you, the grieving spouse, has felt like the elephant in the room? How did you handle the situation? Have you found any great tips or secrets to handle the situation? Please feel free to comment and share. It's important that grieving spouses communicate with one another and share their experiences. We never know when we might be making a difference to someone's life. If you're finding this content valuable, I'd like to ask that you take a moment and hit that like button and subscribe so that you'll be notified when the next video is available. I want to continue my mission, and I want to continue bringing content that may prove helpful to you. To conclude today's brief look at the elephant in the room, it is clear and crucial that we approach grieving spouses with compassion, empathy, and sensitivity to ensure that they don't feel like the elephant in the room. Grief is a deeply personal and complex experience, and it is essential that we create a supportive environment that encourages open dialogue and understanding. Grief is a deeply personal and complex experience. It is essential that we create a supportive environment that encourages open dialogue and understanding. To achieve this, we must first acknowledge the loss and express our condolences genuinely. By recognizing the grieving spouse's pain and demonstrating empathy, we convey that we are aware of their situation and we are there to support them. Active listening plays a crucial role in these interactions, allowing the grieving spouse to express their feelings and experiences without judgment or interruption. By actively engaging and valuing their words, we validate their emotions and create a space for genuine connection. Furthermore, it is important to avoid platitudes, comparisons, or rushed expectations in the grieving process. Each individual's journey is unique, and there is no timeline for healing. By refraining from offering cliched advice or expecting them to move on quickly, we respect their grieving process and provide the necessary space for them to heal in their own time. Offering practical support, remembering significant dates, and providing opportunities for connection can also contribute to a more inclusive environment where grieving spouses feel supported and understood. By embracing empathy, active listening, patience, and practical support, we can work towards ensuring that grieving spouses do not feel like the elephant in the room. As a community, we can foster an atmosphere of compassion and understanding. We can acknowledge their pain, let the grieving voices be heard, and ensure that their healing is nurtured. Together, we can create a community that supports one another through the very challenging journey of grief, and we can offer solace and companionship to those who need it most. Until the next time, my friend, I wish you much love, light, and hope.